How we doing, everyone? Happy Sunday, and welcome to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am joined by my good friend and one of my two co-hosts, Mr. Idris Salam. How you doing, boss?
Well, been a white week since I've been here, so
Yeah, man, it's been a trying week, man. We all been very busy.
yeah.
All been very busy. Shout out to our guy Mike Zappy. He might be joining us. We'll see what happens, but he'll be starting a new job,
Mhm.
USAA in San Antonio. So happy for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's starting tomorrow, man.
I didn't know it was USAA. Oh,
I'm
wow.
happy about this because that means that his ass has to be awake early now. And now I'm gonna get him on those morning shows.
When I start complaining about my insurance, I hope he picks up. Say, hey, this is Mike Zappy. Go Zappy, you better get my insurance right.
Get
Because
you
I'm
on the
USA.
get you on the commercials with Gronk.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they go out sponsor right there. He better work on that.
That's a good look, bro. Come to think of it, that's a good look. In addition to doing our divisional previews, we're going to be breaking down each team in the American League East. Ahead of that, I do want to speak on last night's boxing card. It was very exciting.
Mm,
Normally, the undercard fights, you're lucky if you get one that's action packed. I must admit that all of the shows, all of the pre-fight, pre-main event fights were on point. I was pleased with that.
right.
Gotta say, that was good stuff.
Yeah, I caught a glimpse of them, and each time I looked, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm digging this because yeah, like you said, usually the prelims they're hit or miss. You know, you get three or four, maybe one or two of them are nice, but the last night they all hit. From what I saw the main event in this entirety.
Yeah, main event was good, man.
Mhm.
Benavidez and Plant. What was interesting about this fight is that Plant's camp requested a bigger ring than regulation.
Right.
And normally, when that happens on a main event where you have a multitude of fights, the other matches have to get subjected to that ring size. So it
Right.
was a lot of adjusting. But when you see the kind of fight yesterday that Plant tried to put together, he frustrated Benavidez early. There was a lot of
Mhm.
bad blood going into this.
Yeah.
The fighters refused to touch gloves to start it up. I was disappointed with a referee that I actually have a lot of respect for. I think you said it best off air. You said Kenny Bayless last night reminded me of Richard Steele towards the end, where Richard
Yeah.
Steele started losing respect of boxing fans.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I don't think I could have worded it any better than you did, because that is essentially what we witnessed yesterday. Because he was not
Mm,
getting on the constant holding, and
yeah.
it got to a point where it just looked like survival method.
I think also with that, we're requesting a bigger ring. I think that's why, because Benavidez is coming. Benavidez come with
No
the
doubt.
pain, and he wanted to get away. Um, it just far too much holding. I mean, he should have had a point taken away as early as the fifth round. Benavidez started slow. Plant started pretty quick. Landing good jabs, body punch, a few good uppercuts. And with Benavidez, he kept trying to land a big punch. But once he
Yeah.
settled down and started throwing combinations, from like the fifth round on, he started nailing Plant pretty good. Um,
I mean, it took about
yeah,
18 fight minutes
yeah,
until Benavidez started getting some continuity, because it was apparent that early on, I think he was letting his emotions get the best of him, and
yeah,
he was also really stressed out with the referee not
yeah,
taking initiative. And Plant nailed him low twice,
yeah.
and the first time wasn't even
It
acknowledged.
wouldn't even, yeah, yeah,
But Plant, I got to give him credit too, because if anything, his plan worked for half the fight, because he has
yeah,
phenomenal cardio. I got to say that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
what I will say is this: if Benavidez gets in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, he himself is going to have to step up his discipline, because
yeah,
you cannot bring that kind of frustration into a fight against a future ring Hall of Famer and expect that you're going to be all right. Because I mean, we have to see how they look in their camps if the fight even
yeah.
happens. But as of right now, I think Canelo will beat Benavidez.
I think Benavidez he's gonna have to fight this guy. I mean, we know Canelo's coming to fight.
No doubt.
And he doesn't mind getting hit.
Mm-mm.
And the big ring, Canelo's not gonna look for a big ring because Canelo's a pretty big guy. People think he's small. Canelo's a pretty big guy.
I honestly think the motivation was kind of to your point.
Mm.
He wanted to make sure that Benavidez was going to have to work harder to cut off the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, the better fighter won. But I will give Plant credit for taking an immense amount of punishment. A lesser man would have. But I was a little disappointed with his corner because when I saw that he was having trouble defending himself, I'm like, fellas, throw the towel.
Yeah,
you ain't winning this on points.
Yeah, because Benavidez was nailing him.
Yeah, it got to a point where it was kind of painful to watch. The Ramos family, one got a win, one didn't.
Yeah.
Jesus Ramos just dominated Joey Spencer last night.
That was just
and to his credit, a true sportsman, immediately after the victory, went up to Spencer's corner, praised his toughness, told him, "You're still undefeated in my book." I think that's a very classy gesture of victory.
Yeah.
His uncle, Abel Ramos, gutsy effort, but Cody Crowley was a man on a mission yesterday. He wasn't going to be stopped. Almost a controversial knockdown until the replays proved that his glove actually hit the boot.
Yeah.
That would have been what Ramos needed to maybe pull the upset. But Colbert, that dude, hell of a story there.
Look here, what I saw his press a couple days ago.
Crowley, excuse me, not Colbert.
I saw his press a few days ago, and he said, "Look, y'all know what I come to do. I come to bring the pain. I'm coming forward. I'm coming to fight. I'm coming to knock people out. This is what I do. You're not gonna see me run. I'm coming straight forward." And he stuck to the game plan.
Yeah,
he stuck to the game plan. He said, "Look, I'm throwing punches. I'm trying to hurt somebody. I'm trying to beat somebody."
What I found impressive was just that nonstop flurries. I mean, this man just didn't get tired.
He came to work. He came to do some work. He said,
and it's something.
Work.
What was refreshing about last night's card is that I believe that, unfortunately, we don't see that as much as we used to.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think a lot of guys try to steal rounds.
Yeah.
Kind of play it safe. We saw that in the second match yesterday. Valenzuela Valenzuela got robbed yesterday.
He got robbed. Well, see, that's what Cody said. A lot of these fighters just want to steal rounds. He said, "No, I'm coming to fight." Venezuela got robbed.
No doubt about that.
That was just disgusting, and that's the part of boxing that seems to never go away. This man.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you see the judges take it out of a fighter's hands. But I will say this. While I don't agree with the decision, I think Valenzuela left it too open for the judges to decide it that way, because you got to take into consideration he knocked him down early. But I think what happened with Valenzuela and where Colbert exposed him was that he got him gassed with about 9 minutes left in that fight.
True that.
And at the end of the day, whether it's 9 through 12 or 7 through 10, those are considered the championship rounds.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah, and judges do tend to have a recency thing.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But, Valenzuela, that should be a rematch. I don't see a scenario where that's not a rematch.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It was a good card, though. It was a good card last night, and we got a lot of good fights coming up next month. Except for the Fury Usyk fight. I'm losing respect for Fury. He just keeps pushing the thing back further and further and further. Usyk is like, "Okay, you'll take 70, I'll take 30. We'll do this, we'll do that." And I'm like, "Come on, Fury."
Yeah, Fury definitely a master of the mind games. Do you think Usyk has a chance to win that fight?
I give anyone a chance, but based on the styles, how big Fury is, how crafty, I think Fury will beat him.
I tend to agree, and it's so funny. Deontay Wilder had a very impressive performance not long ago, and I have a feeling that we may be on a collision course for a fourth Wilder-Fury fight, and maybe, just maybe, the Bronze Bomber finally gets that elusive win, because he should have won the first fight.
He should have won the first.
I mean, you're talking a matter of a second and a half, and it changes kind of like the whole narrative around that rivalry, because you had the controversy about was he? Did he have loaded gloves in fight 2? Fight 3 was like a balls to the wall brawl, similar to what we saw in like Rocky 2 with like Creed and Balboa.
Yeah,
that was.
I think with Wilder, I think he should never fired Mark Breland because the first fight is he had Mark Breland. Breland had him boxing. When he switched and got Malik, I can't remember his last name. He changed his style. And that's when you got to stick with what you know.
Especially when you're fighting pound for pound the best fighter in that division. Like him or not, Tyson Fury has earned the right to be called that right now.
I think I think Wilder, if he fought Usyk, I think he'd knock him out.
I tend to agree because my brother and I had this conversation yesterday watching these fights because I was asking him about what he thought about Wilder's future, and we both came to the conclusion that he needs a win over Fury to validate his whole career because he hasn't lost to anyone else.
Nope.
He's been perfect against the boxing world outside of Tyson Fury. That's been his kryptonite.
Yeah, I think he needs to go back to Mark Breland. I don't think he will because they're so far apart, but that's the man that got him there, got him to the top.
And speaking of going back, this is interesting. Bobby Wagner is a Seahawk again. Interesting. So the Los Angeles Rams kind of mortgaged the future to win the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago. Similar to what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did.
Yeah,
I think Wagner joined the party a year too late.
Yeah,
he realized that he didn't necessarily ask to leave Seattle.
Right.
That was a mutual part, more so on the organizations, because he and Russell Wilson actually got released on the same day.
Right.
Or in Russell's case, he got traded.
Right.
But Wagner, I think after a year playing for a division rival who was supposed to be much better, realized the grass isn't always greener. And, Seattle had one of the biggest surprises next to our New York Giants last year in terms of, making the playoffs.
And they got a good defense.
This team had a halftime lead against the 49ers before getting blown up. So, you like him or not, you got to give credit to Pete Carroll. Geno Smith won Comeback Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team that I myself, going into last year, had as a bottom 4 or 5 team. And
I think we both had them like 4 or 5 wins, maybe.
I don't think anybody that watches, covers, or cares about football thought that team was going to win more than 5 games.
We missed on that one.
Well, just be comforted in knowing that most people were lined up right next to us in that regard. We missed on 2 teams last year, them and the Colts.
Because no one expected Geno Smith to carry that team to the playoffs.
He hasn't carried anyone anywhere before that.
Someone that said they did, they're lying.
It speaks volumes on the job that Pete Carroll did. We're going to hit on Aaron Nola for a moment, and then we're going to roll it into our division preview. Aaron Nola going to hit free agency. He and his camp could not come to an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
I think whether or not this guy gets traded really depends on if the Phillies are in the mix at the All-Star break.
Right.
They lost Rhys Hoskins for the year. Terrible loss there. Yeah. Last year, they were not a good team at the midway point. They fired Joe Girardi. Mm-hmm. Then they went on a run and made it to the World Series, coming up as a runner-up to the Houston Astros.
Mm-hmm.
But I think his days here are over. And even if they are in the mix, I could still see a scenario where Philly trades him. Ultimately, he's going to be looking for the bag in free agency. And I'm way ahead of myself for saying this. Uncle Stevie is going to do everything in his power to bring this guy over to the Mets to really solidify their 5-man rotation because, number one, they hate the Phillies.
Right.
And number two, and number two, Uncle Stevie in his short time in New York has definitely wanted to take the headlines in any way, shape, or form from the rival New York Yankees. I like it. I think it's good for the city. I think it's good for baseball. It's good for football. It's good even for basketball when the New York teams have something to fight about.
I was going to say that.
Hockey as well. Islanders and Rangers, when they're both good, it's better for the sport.
It's funny because I'm glad you mentioned that because, see, that's what I was going to say. I think Nola, I think if he's there past the All-Star break, I think at the end of the season he's going to jump somewhere. And I think Uncle Steve will try to grab him because, like you said, he wants the headlines. The Mets are finally doing something again, but they're still not the Yankees yet. You know, and if you look at New York sports now, the Mets and the Yankees are starting to like who's taking over baseball in New
Yeah,
York? And
yeah.
you
It's
got
been a
basketball.
while since they're both legitimate World Series contenders. Obviously, in the Mets case, losing Edwin Diaz in the World Baseball Classic hurts, but they could make a trade, or they might have the answer in house. They do have a good bullpen.
And you have you got the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets and the Knicks. We're
Yeah,
fighting it out. Now the Jets are starting to look like, okay, we're
yeah.
coming back.
They
And
might be acquiring a 4-time league MVP.
and see, I think losing Edward Diaz was a huge loss. Too
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Because he was trying to do something for his country, win a championship. The Mets are building a squad. Let's keep. I mean, I'm not a Mets fan, but let's keep it 100. They're building something there.
Yeah.
But Nola's going to want that money at the end of the year, and I don't think
He's gonna get it. It could be a West Coast team, but I would not rule out the Mets just given the utter hatred that the two teams have for one another.
Yeah, and what Stevie's trying to, Uncle Steve, we'll call him. What he's building over in Queens, Flushing, the toilet place. It wouldn't surprise me if he went on and got Nola. Like, look, come with us. Those guys are over there across the GW. They're doing their thing. We could build something here. We could be kings of New York. No, you won't, y'all. The Yankees will always be the kings of New York.
Yeah, but I will say this though: complacency is not the best thing, and
no,
it's time for the Yankees to hoist a World Series trophy. It's been a long time.
Overdue.
So without further ado, we're going to hit on some questions for each team right here. Uncle Stevie is the next Jerry Jones. Yeah, I can see that, Brett. I could definitely see that, Brett. Shout out Brett Bandit, contributor to the show. I think he is working today because he's got to put some of his players on cue for our fantasy baseball draft in a little while. Down below for the viewers, we have kind of some storylines, so let everybody get acclimated to what's happening in this division. Just give that a minute here. Can the Rays get back to their winning formula that helped them make the World Series in 2020 and have the best AL record in 21 when they had the best record in 21? Can the Red Sox avoid the cellar after losing superstar Xander Bogaerts? I don't think so. No. I do think Alex Cora is a pretty good manager, though. Kind of just let it ring up to the top, and then we're going to hit on team for team. Man, we don't even need to look at this. So you already know what the problem is. Yankees can beat the damn Astros. Toronto can't beat the Yankees.
Right.
You never know what you're going to get with the Rays. Orioles on the rise. Start with the Red Sox here. As I already alluded to, lost Xander Bogaerts to San Diego. They added Justin Turner, added Kenley Jensen. Gives them a credible closer. Looking to improve upon last year's fifth-place finish. Players to watch. Rafael Devers, who can be an MVP candidate. Chris Sale, big question mark surrounding that guy's future.
Yeah.
He's looking to bounce back from multiple injuries. He hasn't been healthy in about 3 years consistently. But when he's right, he's still one of the best. To put it bluntly, this is a team that even with the departure of Xander Bogaerts, who prevented Aaron Judge from winning last year's Triple Crown, I do think that these guys are going to compete. But I don't see them for a second consecutive year getting out of the cellar. I think that Boston, offensively, they're gifted. They can score runs. I just do not believe in their pitching staff. I do think that Jensen will probably get north of 30 saves because he's really a good closer.
He's good. Yeah, he's good.
But I just don't know if they have the credentials to have that consistent bridge to get to him.
I agree. Losing Bogaerts to San Diego, San Diego's trying to build that little thing. That's a tough one. It's the pitching because every time you looked at the back page, they were getting beat 8-2, 10-2. How many times we put up 15?
Or they'd have a 10-3 lead and lose 11-10.
Right. They got
or even hit. When they win. It wasn't exactly a pitching masterpiece.
No, they got hit, dude. Yeah. They got hit. I mean, they got hit because we slammed them. We were putting up 10, 15 runs on these guys. I mean, and with the American League East is deep, man. It's getting real tough. The Rays always give it to you. They
Yeah.
always come.
Well,
Play,
I've been saying this for quite a few years now. You can make an argument any particular year that Kevin Cash may very well be the best manager in all of baseball
because he does it cheap and they win.
I mean, Alex Cora is good. I'm not going to deny that. Alex Cora is a good manager. Terry Francona broke up what could have been a three-peat for Kevin Cash by winning Manager of the Year last year. You know, you got to give your credit to Buck Showalter over in Queens. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of good managers, but I just don't think Boston has enough to sustain
pitching, man.
But the thing going for pretty much anyone that's not expected to stay in a divisional race is that 19 has been reduced to 12 in terms of how many times you play teams inside your own division.
Right.
And I do believe that this particular division, talking about the AL East, because I do have a faith in this division as a whole, can play the likes of teams from the other Eastern division in the National League, the Central in the NL, et cetera, and they can put up decent records that can keep them around. Because sometimes, I mean, you look at the New York Giants, I'll make an analogy. Only one divisional win last year, but they were undefeated against the AFC, and that's ultimately what propelled them into the playoffs. You know, we're two Giant fans, and we'll be the first ones to tell you, we got to play better in our division. No excuses.
Right. You have to win your division, or you have to compete in your division.
Yeah, you at least got to break 500.
You have to. You have to.
But in this case, with all the interleague action where everyone plays everyone, and then, of course, you have that pitch clock. That's going to be an adjustment period for everybody.
Yeah.
You'll see my take on the final standings, but I think I kind of tipped my card a little, saying that Boston will not be out of the cellar.
I'm with you. They gotta get pitching. You know what has killed us a lot has been pitching
and injuries.
Injuries. We got the hitters. Anyone can hit the ball. It's just we couldn't close, or we get behind. It's just pitching. You have to have good pitching. I don't care how.
I got a laundry list of when we get to our team.
Oh, okay.
You just wait, pal. That Richie guy is negative. Baltimore Orioles team is trending upward after last year's surprising finish. This is a team that's young at key positions.
Yeah,
I see at least 2 to 3 potential breakout guys. Andy Rutschman, catcher. I have a feeling that he's going to be amongst the top 3 offensively. Gunnar Henderson. This is an exciting player.
Yeah.
Anthony Santander, not a new player, but a guy that I think could actually reach an elite status. I predict that this team literally can compete with anyone, but similar to the Red Sox, I do think that they still struggle with that middle relief getting to the end. But this team is definitely trending north.
The Orioles is that very good bad team.
Yeah, and they're not that bad anymore.
Right. Year after year, they're that very good bad team that they suck, but they're gonna surprise somebody. Like, okay, we're gonna make sure you're not going to the playoffs. Like, for them, because at one point in the season last year, they look like okay.
I think for the first time in probably a solid 15 years, the Orioles are finally cashing in on some of the young players they invested in, where they're all making the show now, and I think they're all going to compete. You'll see where I rank them as we get to our final standings, but this is a team that is trending upward, and once again, as I already alluded to, the 7 games less against each division rival being replaced by teams from other leagues, it's going to make an impact. And I do think that more than any other division in baseball, the AL East is equipped to kick ass and take names elsewhere.
You know, the AL East reminds me of the SEC.
That's a good analogy.
Almost from top to bottom, in our division, we'll beat each other's ass.
Yeah.
But once we walk outside our buildings and go somewhere else, it's gonna be hard to beat us. You know, so I see the Orioles making a jump. I think, once you get to where you rank everyone, but I think they'll finish above Boston.
Like I said, I tipped my card on Boston. Everybody in my eyes finishes ahead of Boston. But when you see Boston's record, I think you might be surprised and be like, we'll see.
We're getting there.
Tampa Bay Rays, manager Kevin Cash, perennially always in the mix for manager of the year. 2 of the last 3 seasons, he's won that award. Last year, Terry Francona, we know him. This team is led by the starting duo of Shane McClanahan and Drew Rasmussen. All starts to watch. Randy Arozarena, and let me tell you, man, Wander Franco is a special player. What I saw last year that was kind of uncharacteristic with this Rays team is that I feel that they made a lot more errors in the field than we're used to seeing, and we're not playing the smartest of baseball that you've come accustomed to seeing with a Kevin Cash team. A move that I don't like, they lost G-Man Choi. I mean, I like it for us because he's a Yankee killer.
Yeah.
But I don't like it for them.
Right.
That's going to be a tough guy to replace. He was in many ways the heartbeat of that team.
You know, the Rays they're always been very disciplined. And manager, I mean, you got to give it to them. They never have a high payroll.
No.
But they always compete. They always kill us.
Their most prolific player in terms of a salary was Evan Longoria.
Right.
And he earned every penny. He was awesome.
Yeah. You know, they play in a stadium that people don't show up, but they come to play regardless. I mean,
it's wild because their ratings, in terms of on the TV, they get good viewership. They don't get good attendance, and I can speak from experience.
Yeah.
Everybody bitches at the stadium's an eyesore. I get that.
Right.
But when you live in Florida, you don't care what it looks like as long as you have something above you where you're not incinerating. Right. But I will say this, it's location that I think ultimately will get this team moved out of Florida. It's not going to happen in the next 10 years, but it might happen in the next 15. That's my take on that.
I think it'd be sooner than that, to be honest with you.
You might be right. I mean, I would like to see them move more centralized into Tampa.
Right.
Hell, even if you put them in Camping World Stadium, now that's an outdated stadium, but if you put them in Camping World, they would probably sell out. In Orlando, for sure.
Yeah, I think and Wanda good shortstop. I think that's they're really hard to gauge for me, man, because they're hard to gauge for me, Tampa.
They do things unconventionally. They're one of those teams that they like to play what they call the starter role. When you have a bullpen arm come out, start a game, and turn it into that kind of game early. There's pros and cons to that approach.
Yeah.
You get a lot of guys work, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I also think there are scenarios where you do tend to burn out guys. Yeah. There's a couple of ways to look at it. It has worked for them. I wouldn't suggest too many teams using that analytics to win. I still am a firm believer that you try to get your 6 and a third out of your starter and lean on your pen for the big outs, because third time in the order, it's been proven time and time again that it's harder to get guys out. And that's why usually your starters don't see a guy a fourth time. 3 is already enough.
Right.
But this is a team that, to your point, has always maximized with limited resources, and they are a very good team in terms of scouting. I have to give them that.
I think with the interleague play now, I think they'll be much better as well.
I'm telling you, man, I have a high faith in this division. And I could speak on this just to throw a little playful jab at our crosstown rival Mets. Every time that I would have to pull for the Mets to do us a favor and beat the Red Sox when the Red Sox were good, let's just say it never happened.
No.
Thank you, Mets.
Yeah.
The Toronto Blue Jays, this is another team that could be very difficult to forecast. Teoscar Hernandez is their best player that left. He's in Seattle they're already a playoff-ready team to make a run. Bullpen depth, to me, is going to be their issue, as well as starter depth. Jordan Romano, one of the better closers in the league, but similar to what we said about Jensen in Boston, you need that middle bridge guy that's going to get you there. And I do believe that their manager currently could very well be replaced by former Yankee captain Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly is the assistant manager, basically. He is the second man in charge.
Yep.
And I don't think that Mattingly would have taken this gig
right,
unless if he knew that he could legitimately be the next guy. This is a team that has had issues beating the Yankees over the last couple of seasons. The Yankees have essentially been their daddy, to quote.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me.
To quote their to quote Pedro Martinez.
Yeah, I think Toronto, they kind of remind me of Baltimore.
I apologize. I miswrote this. You continue, Idris.
Oh no, you're fine.
I don't know where I got Jay. I know Jay Gibbons is a ball player. Somehow I think I was reading about one team, typing in another.
Hey, y'all, excuse me. My allergies are killing me.
You're good, bro.
They remind me of Baltimore, except they're a better version. You don't know where. You don't know what they're gonna do, man.
Nah.
We've owned them. I don't see them, my opinion, finishing above the Rays. I think they'll be flipped, but we'll see a thing at the end, so we'll take it from there. But I don't know about Toronto, man.
I had this. I'll put it to you like this. My barber, Lewis. Shout out J&L Barbershop. Definitely, if you're in the Orlando area, give them a look.
Do you line your beard up?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good job, man.
I'm actually going to just hit you guys with the address here. 6100 South Orange Avenue. They recently relocated roughly a week ago. Got a great bunch of guys in there, so definitely give them a look if you're in the area. J&L Barbershop.
Look like Lewis you work up in the Bronx somewhere with some of the homies, man.
Lewis is a devout Yankee fan. In addition to
there it is. Then okay,
just being a great baseball fan in general, and he kind of hit me with his take on the Blue Jays.
Ooh,
and I mentioned to him yesterday that I actually think that it's John Schneider, by the way, not Jay Gibbons. I don't know where I got Jay Gibbons from. I know he's a ball player. I was just typing without enough coffee in me. But yes, if they get off to that 500 start, I do think there's a possibility that Mattingly could be coming in and taking that seat.
Yeah.
You'll see where I rank these guys at the end. New York Yankees, our team. Last year's American League East champs are looking for someone to take some weight off of MVP Aaron Judge's shoulders. Candidates that can. Now, there's two that come to mind, possibly three. Giancarlo Stanton, he's a former National League MVP last season with the Marlins. His last season was with the Marlins. Who was a former National League MVP? We know this 59 home run campaign. This team has question marks, left field and shortstop. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who was shortstop last year, could be moved to left to help out Aaron Hicks. Opie needs to be the man there.
Yeah.
Rotations, big three, Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, and Nestor Cortez. Currently, Rodon's on the IL. Severino joins him yesterday with a lat. We also have Frankie Montes potentially out for the year, but yet insert Domingo Germán, you insert Clark Schmidt. So yes, Yankees are dealing with injuries early on, as well as Harrison Bader, who was acquired last year for Jordan Montgomery. The return of Michael King, that's going to be a big one. Bridge gap to Clay Holmes. I feel good about this bullpen. Right now, the starters got me a little worried.
Yeah.
And hitting with runners in scoring position also concerns me. Last year, I felt that teams were able to pitch around Judge. Now, mind you, this man still hit 62 bombs.
Yeah.
And they were still able to pitch around him a little too frequently. I think Anthony Volpe could potentially be a guy that could step right in at the big league level and make an impact. And I got to say, DJ LeMahieu, I think he's primed for a comeback year.
He needs to. He needs to.
The one thing the Yankees don't have, I'm not saying that it can't be earned and can't be effective, but as of right now, they don't have your traditional leadoff hitter. Over the years, it was LeMahieu. LeMahieu's time last year between the injuries and between he and Glaber both kind of playing a little bit underwhelmingly. They share second base. I think LeMahieu's going to get a little more action at third.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they necessarily want Josh Donaldson getting as many at-bats as he did last year, but that glove is legit. He will be in the games late. Ultimately, this is a World Series contender. When you look at this team on paper, they have what you need to get there. It's all about making the right decisions from the seventh inning on, and quite frankly, just getting it done, man. You know, people want to complain, bitch, and moan about Aaron Boone as well as Brian Cashman. And while, believe me, I have been critical of both of them, at the end of the day, it's on the players.
Right.
They know what's at stake.
You know, Cashman brings him in, Boone coaches him, but the players have to play.
Absolutely.
You could say anything you want to say, but the players still have to do their jobs. We can't rely on Aaron Judge to hit 62 home runs. We can't rely on I like Gleyber. Garrett Cole to pitch 7 innings of one-hit baseball, and then expect someone to come in and just take over to close the game. The closers got to close.
Yeah.
Starters got to start.
And
Hitters
Holmes was
got to
in an
hit.
unenviable position because the success early,
Yeah,
he broke innings, not a non scored upon innings record that was previously held by Hall of Famer Mariano Rivera.
right.
Then he had his struggles, and that's going to happen in terms of a long season. You got other gutsy guys in this pen. You got
Yeah.
Wandy Peralta, who I'm very happy is back. You got Jonathan Loaiziga.
Right.
They have depth in this pen. Canley's also hurt after being reacquired. And I'm not happy about any of the injuries, but what I must say is that you'd rather have guys get hurt now as opposed to in the summertime.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And leaving so many people on base, man, scoring position, that killed us. How many times we had bases loaded, man on second, I mean, it was insane. I'm like, okay, we got man on second and third, no outs. We got to bring at least one person home.
No, it got to a point where it was
horrible,
nothing short of maddening. And I did have a few nights where I literally got pissed off.
Yeah, I did too. It was time.
I just took a walk and decided to mute the game, do something else, maybe go clean the kitchen because they did get me frustrated. And
me too.
I don't want to come off as one of these spoiled Yankee fans because at the end of the day, I've seen this team win 5 championships.
Right.
I've seen this team play in 7 different World Series. Yeah. But one thing I got to say is while I am proud of what they accomplished in that era, this is not that era of Yankees baseball. And this era of Yankees baseball, these guys, the core guys, the Judges, the Coles,
right?
Stanton, who was a massive contract when he joined, DJ LeMahieu, 2-time former batting champion, who I do think is primed for a big year. These guys, Anthony Rizzo, these guys need to step up. Bottom line,
Stanton got to come through.
Yes.
There's
no reason why he shouldn't. There's no reason why he shouldn't.
He's been hurt, but dude, you got to pick it up, man.
One of the streakiest guys in the game. I don't think you'll ever see a season similar to what he did with the Miami Marlins when he won the league MVP and hit 59 bombs. But I do think this is a guy that should be hitting north of 260 and hitting 40.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's got to play at least 130 games a year, bottom line.
Right. And Rizzo, I love Rizzo.
Yeah.
I loved him before he became a Yankee, to be honest with you.
Most baseball people just have a world of respect for him. He does things the right way, and he's a great clubhouse presence.
I hate we lost Matt Carpenter. I liked him, but
from a numbers game standpoint, I think that the Yankees identified it as there's only so many roster spots. If they expanded it to say a 30-man, then a guy like Carpenter stays. But I think that because of the fact that you have a guy like Stanton who already doesn't really play the field at any kind of functional level,
right?
I guess although the stash was an awesome addition, they just couldn't justify keeping him around. And I do like that guy, too. He's in San Diego. He's doing well.
Yeah, some of San Diego's out there trying to do something, man.
San Diego is my pick to win the National League.
I forgot who I had my pick for.
I think you picked the Braves. I might have to revisit that episode.
I think I did pick the Braves. But, I love Matt. But the team just has to step up. Stop looking for bombs. Put the ball in play.
Yeah.
Bring them players home.
My hope is that a guy like a Harrison Bader, when healthy, and this has been frustrating already, can be that guy. They acquired a hell of a center fielder. The motivation behind that move was to get Judge back into right field. Judge has volunteered to even play left. He's going to do whatever the team needs. He played a lot of center field. Andrew Benintendi didn't work out last year because of the injury.
Right.
And left field is still a question. But I do think the combination of IKF, Hicks, and potentially Judge, believe it or not, because Giancarlo Stanton is actually more of a liability in left field than he is in right.
I hate it for Montez. I really wanted to see what he was going to do in a full season.
Yeah, man. Bottom line, they acquired damaged goods.
Yeah.
And that one's on Cashman, and he owns it. It is what it is. Because when you think that we gave them J.P. Sears, who was in the process of becoming a pretty good pitcher, and on a dime's notice during the dog days of summer, pitched some really good games. Looking back at it, that's a tough one to swallow. But not every trade's going to work out.
Yeah.
These are my predictions.
Oh, here we go. Let's see. Whoa!
I got the Blue Jays in fourth, bro. I have a feeling that this team is going to get off to a ratchet start, and they're going to pick up the pace when Don Mattingly takes over. I am not joking. I really believe that Don Mattingly is going to take over.
It's funny because I was saying that Toronto reminds me of the Toronto was a
better version. But if you notice, there's only
But I could see the records. I'm on board with that. I could see Baltimore leapfrogging Toronto. I really can. Because last year they showed, it's like after the break, it's like they just started pouring it on. Like, okay, we're gonna try to push for a wild card. They didn't make it, but they were looking real good. So it wouldn't surprise me. They're young. They got a very good shortstop. It wouldn't surprise me.
I just think that
Tampa. I saw Tampa second place too. Yeah.
Yeah. But to be honest with you, I think the Yankees are going to win this division running away. I think that 7-game spread is actually going to be the kind of situation where it might be double digits going into the latter weeks. And then, 40-man rosters expand. We know how that goes.
Yeah.
A couple of questions. Can Aaron Judge duplicate last year's historic season?
You know what? I kind of think he can because of the way the interleague play now, to where you're not playing more division games.
I also think that pitch clock's going to help us.
Pitch clock, yeah.
Guys that are always looking to do damage.
Yeah.
I can see a situation with some of these guys that are like hanging on to a thread in the rotation and trying to keep that pitch clock. Next thing you know, it's headed over to the Major Deegan,
Yeah, right. I would love to see Aaron Judge hitting Colorado.
Oh, dear God.
Where you can hit a base.
Yeah.
You can swing a wiffle ball bat.
Yeah.
And knock it into the mountains,
Those yellow bats that we used to run around with as kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes our parentals would use them as weapons against us.
Oh, yeah, sometimes.
Who will lead each team in home runs? These are just a couple of my thoughts. Doesn't make it set in stone. I got Aaron Judge, Vlad Guerrero, Anthony Santander, Randy Arozarena, Rafael Devers. But I mean,
I could see Santander flipping Guerrero.
Well, if Hernandez was still a member of the team, I would say maybe him, but he's no longer with the Blue Jays.
Right.
I mean, Bichette always has a chance.
I mean, maybe I just don't like Guerrero. I can't say I don't like Guerrero.
It's not so much that I don't like him. It's just that I give the eye roll to anybody that has that much disdain for the New York Yankees.
I loved his father though. But,
his father was a bad man.
He's a bad man.
Yeah, that dude, Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, exactly. He was a
potential Cy Young candidates for each team. Once again, just my thoughts. I got Nestor Cortez, who interestingly is our number 3.
Yeah.
But the way that his style of pitching, I think, is conducive to racking up wins and getting a Cy. Kevin Gausman, definitely have to mention him from the Blue Jays. Baltimore and Boston, sorry, nobody.
No.
Shane McClanahan for the Rays.
I'm going with Cole for the Yankees.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, Ness can do it too.
If Cole can if there's a hole in Cole's game, it's that he is susceptible to the long ball. Yeah, but he is a hell of a pitcher.
But it's good competition. Ness and Cole, yeah. But Baltimore and Boston, that's their problem, pitching.
No doubt. I tend to agree with you, and I'm going on record as saying that right now. The New York Yankees will represent the American League in the World Series, and I've got them coming up short to the San Diego Padres. The Padres will get revenge off of the 98 sweep. That is my way too early prediction. I think the Yankees It's either going to have to go through Seattle or Houston in the ALCS. And as of right now, I'm leaning towards that team possibly being Seattle.
I'm
Can't
gonna
sleep
go.
on the Guardians.
Yeah. But Cleveland, yeah.
Francona is such a good manager that I can never count him out.
Yeah. I'm gonna go this early. It's not a homer pick. I'll say the Yankees, and I'll probably stick with the Braves, and that's another rematch.
That wouldn't entirely shock me.
Yeah. I think the Dodgers are. I'm not gonna say done, but
they've squandered a lot of chances.
They had to do. They had a whole
They have indeed squandered a lot of chances.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Yankees, Braves. I wouldn't leave out San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego and the Yankees for now. Me being humble and trying to be unbiased, I just don't see anybody beating San Diego. I think they are that deep and that dangerous. But if that's another team, all the talent in the world doesn't always guarantee success. And I will say this: Bob Melvin could be in trouble losing that job should the Padres struggle, because they have every reason to be picked by every writer this year.
They got everything they need.
No doubt about it.
But I do agree with Toronto, Madeline. I think he'll be there before. I think he'll be running the team by.
Maybe we'll run like a little friendly bet amongst the group here. I'm going to go Mattingly by game 91. I don't know why I just picked that off the top of my head.
I'm going earlier than that, man. I'm going by 60, man.
Oh wow! So you got them starting real bad.
Yeah, I got them. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what it is. I just don't trust Toronto's leadership right now. I have a funny feeling, and I think Mattingly is going to get them right. They're going to fall short of a playoff berth, but they'll be in better hands with Donnie at the helm. So basically, in this division, I have the Yankees winning it, and I have the Rays qualifying for one of the wild cards. But I have a feeling that the other wild cards, you got to account for at least one in the West between whether it's the Astros or the Mariners. One wins the division, one will be a card.
Right.
Out West, another team that you could potentially be a wild card, the Texas Rangers, Mike Zappy's team.
Ooh.
We're going to be previewing that division as our final one. Okay. The Houston Astros won their first real World Series last year. Fuck you, AJ Hinch. Yeah, so, I said it's only right to do their division last.
Yeah.
And, give Zappy an opportunity to sell the world on why the Rangers are going to be a wild card, which I don't actually think is all that far-fetched.
Yeah. Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, man. Baltimore Orioles also going to be in the mix for a wild card.
I believe so.
But no, Toronto misses the playoffs this year. I really do believe that. And
yeah, I know Boston Red Sox fans. So, you just hating on the dude. You guys were bad last year. You couldn't pitch.
Now I got the Yankees topping out regular season as an even 100-win team. You got them lesser or more than 100?
No, I got them like 105.
Oh, I'd take that. I don't see that, but I'll take it.
I say because of the interleague play, man.
So you do feel that strong about the interleague that we're going to be cracking heads in there?
Because when I looked at us last year, I mean, even the Orioles would have competed for a wild card in the NL, if I remember right. I'm just going off the top of the head, but the Orioles at some point were, if you compared the American League East with the NL East,
right?
I can't remember. I think Baltimore was rated pretty high. I can't remember, but
in general, I think if somebody's going to struggle, I'm gonna say it's the Rays, and I'll tell you why. Because although the Rays have a very good pitching staff and are a smart baseball team, I do think that if anybody in our division is going to have an offensive power outage, it'll be the Rays.
I could see that.
They manufacture a lot of runs, and to their credit, I say that, and they also know how to play on that turf. Yeah. They know how to leg out those cheapies.
Yeah.
And, the catwalk is its own entity. You never know what's going to happen with that. But, it's 72 degrees in there. It's nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
I've been there many a time where I just get in, and then I'm like, where am I sitting today?
I watch them on TV, and I'm like, sometimes I wish they would show the whole stadium, but, they always show, the batting area and behind.
Yeah.
But you can just listen and be like, I wonder if they got 20 people in there. It just looks. It just sounds empty. You
Well,
know.
the truth be told, you can have 13,000 sometimes. It just don't
Yeah.
sound like it because you got too many empty seats, and you do hear a lot of echoes. I will say this: one of the cool
Yeah.
things about going there
Mhm.
is when you get that crack of the bat, you really hear it.
I can imagine. Yeah, because on TV you hear it.
And
Yeah.
I went to 2 different Rays games against the Yankees last year.
Mhm.
Game 2 was a game we won. Aaron Judge hit 2 bombs. I also won on Memorial Day where Aaron Judge hit one, but we ended up getting beat that day.
Yeah.
But no, the Rays definitely a team that's going to be competing. And like I said, Yankees and Rays, I got them both making the postseason. Toronto, not so much. And I think Baltimore may literally go down to like no BS the final week of the season.
And Tampa fans, we're not disrespecting your team. Really
No,
not. I got all the praise for them because you guys beat us a lot. You guys.
I'll be honest with
that,
you. They are quote unquote a division rival, but I don't have any bad for them. And I think it's because I empathize with the fact that they really filter in a lot of talent from the minor league system and that they are not able to usually keep a lot of star players. They lose a lot of players, they replace a lot of players, but they always try to play Ray's brand of baseball, which is smart, relentless pressure on hit and run situations, and good pitching.
I just want to see them play in a stadium where they have a crowd. Really
and like I said, until location, that's not going to change. Like I'm the type that if I want to see my Yankees, that ain't a thing to me. I just know what I'm getting into. It's going to be a long way home.
Right.
Well, I'm the type that what I'll do is I'll refire up the grill and let everybody leave. And I'll go have a couple more drinks, go smash a brat or a burger or whatever, and just kind of chill. Like and just wait for everybody to leave.
Like in Jacksonville, right? I'm joking. When you was frozen, like, okay.
Yeah, a little bit. I was like, man, I hope they don't make me talk now.
Yeah, but I just want them to
felt like I was getting momentarily there with those raffle tickets. I thought I was getting an image award or like one of those lifetime achievement awards.
Yeah, they knew I was here. Me, I won.
Yeah, I was hoping I would have blended in, man.
Yeah, I just want them. I think if they played in front of a crowd, a real home crowd that's just acting crazy and just like Yankee Stadium,
right,
Fenway, I think the team will amp up a little bit more because they're like, okay, the crowd is like really, because when you got that home crowd behind you, you're like, oh man.
Because what's interesting, I don't know if this applies the same way as the NFL, but I do know that I think I had this talk with our guy Quentin that attendance is only about 20% of the pie,
right?
Which just goes to show you what the merch and the TV deals are all about.
Yeah,
because like I alluded to, the Rays actually do have good ratings on TV.
They do.
It's that a lot. Yeah, no doubt. It's that a lot of people just don't want to make that trip.
Right.
Ultimately, it comes down to that. Yankees for the win in this division.
Yeah.
Zappy, we rated Toronto kind of low. I don't know how you feel about that, but at any time, if you want to talk some smack, you can always be referred to this thread on the bottom. Had a good time doing this show.
Oh, yeah.
I am going to get my game face on a couple of hours from now. I'll be hanging out with friend of the show, John Olson.
Shout out.
Yeah, man. And doing my baseball draft. We won't know who has the one pick until about 30 minutes before. But I will say this. If I do get the one pick,
I'm on that, or you're just doing it?
I'm thinking about that, actually. Hey. So don't be surprised if you see my mug in a couple hours.
Hell yeah, put it up, man. Shoot, baseball's right around the corner, man.
Oh, it's time. It is time. It is time.
So, all right.
Brett's in that one. He's actually going to be drafting from work. He wasn't able to get today off, so he's going to hang in the office when they start and at least try to get his first 10 picks out.
I suck that's why I don't get in. I got in 2 leagues before, and I'm the freaking.
I won our league 2 years ago, and last year I lost in the finals to John's son, Josh. So man, I've been in the mix the last couple of years.
I am horrible.
Zappy's in this league. Zappy's going to be playing in this league this year.
I'll do basketball. I'll do football.
But
I
yo,
even
fantasy
do hockey.
football, Cheddar in the
Yeah.
Sun. I want to holler at John about that because
Mhm.
we might have an opening.
Okay, let me know.
Yeah, because the guy that just wants to see your face, I don't think he's going to be returning to the league this year. I mean, I don't know. I'll have to do my research and find out about that. Yeah, sometimes there's just nothing good to say. Until next time, over there, Mr. Pollen, thanks for thugging it out, getting through the allergies today, Mr. Idris Salam. I'm your host, Richie. If you haven't already, make it a point to like and subscribe to the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube, on IG, on both of my personal Facebook page as well as the podcast page, and also make it a point, check out the Casual Convo Show where you get to see this man, Mr. Bosco from the Bronx, BX
And this
Borough.
man also.
Yeah, I'm going to be coming through
I got
as well. As well as the beautiful Coco. They do a hell of a job on that show, so make it a point. Check that out as well. They hit on a range of topics. And I had a lot of fun watching the most recent show, so make it a point. Check those guys out, too, doing big things over there. Until next time, he's Idris, I'm Richie, and I appreciate you guys spending some of your Sunday with us. We out.
We're out.